She wasn't gonna let me fuck, now she wanna fuck again. Told her homegirl about me, now them hoes tapping in. Conversation on my phone, be like, what you tryna spin? Bricks and shows, hoes on hoes.
Wine, Terrence Gangsta William, aka OG Diggity. I'm hanging out with the big homie, Hanging TV. Make sure y'all subscribe, support the brother. We out here doing big things. It's all good, baby. Y'all see me free. We out here enjoying life. Wine. I want y'all to stop the violence, say no to drugs. Let's put these guns down. I'm out, baby. Gotta go.
This is a certified hood classic.
I used to be in my feelings, then I turned up and got a spot. I can't say how much I made in that bitch, I just know it was a lot. I don't care no more if she love me for real, long as she love my knot. They say, you hitting them with too much drip. I know I got a mop. I put my flow in the microwave, I know I got to blow, now it's hot. I was way too far ahead of my time, I had to slow down and stop. Before I pull up to the honeycomb, I got to go round the block. Looking in blind spots for any nigga think he on the low trying to plot. Go ahead.
Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to Hanky TV, man. You feel what I'm saying? That's my boy. He put dope content over there.
What's up with it? Your boy JT. If I say I done it, I did it. I got a new series starting today called Tales from the Cell. Hold on, y'all. I got something going on. I got a new series, my bad. I got a new series today starting Tales from the Cell. And basically what it was about, like I told y'all before, I did 15 years in the joint. So basically what it was going to be about is going to be about me telling my experiences in there and some of the stuff I experienced while being in prison. But I also was going to bring you guests who also had served time in prison and let them explain the different things they had experienced in there. Some of the things they went through, what they learned, and it had also came out and who became successful. I said one of my stipulations I was going to do, I feel like a person had to do 10 years or better. I feel like if you do 1 day in jail, you done learned the lesson. But I feel like a person who have did 10 years or better, they done learned a substantial lesson. But I kind of bent the rules and said I would kind of like invite people who really had a message to share. And this just wasn't for males, this was also for females. And I was just conversing one day with Miss Briggles, and she had explained to me that she had her son while she was incarcerated. So I think that would have been an important message, you know what I'm saying, to let people know, not just our young people, but also some of our adults, because it seemed like some of our adults are throwing rocks at the prison. So I think people really don't know how it is about going to prison. If you ain't experienced, people think it's a joke, you know what I'm saying? People out here playing games, and man, it ain't the place to be. Like I said, I got Briggles. She's gonna explain to us some of the things she experienced while she was in prison. She did some time, and she had her son while she's in there. So if you can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Briggles. Yeah. What else?
So, like we were saying before, so what did you get incarcerated for?
I got incarcerated on a 22 drug indictment.
You know, like you was explaining to me, you said you didn't have nothing to do with it. So walk us through what happened when you got arrested.
Okay, so the day that I had got arrested, I actually was at my cousin's house. I was just like, I went to the next door neighbor house to use their phone, and I like seen a car that was like looking at me, look at them. You know, you don't have to go to prison or jail to know what the hell the undercover police look like. So, you know, as I'm turning my back or whatever, I just hear get down now on the ground. And I'm like, I'm not getting down. I turned around, I had these big ass guns in my face. So they had on vests, and I looked and I was like, U.S. Marshal. I was confused, like the day that I got arrested, I was just in confusion. Like, you know, they don't want to tell you nothing because they think you done did something. And I'm like, what happened? Like, you know, I was just lost. So it wasn't a good day. That's what I can say.
So explain the process to us, like far as getting arrested, getting a cruise, or getting booked into county jail.
Okay, so that whole process was like, it's just a lot. Like you know, you take pictures, you do your fingerprint, you sit in a cell for however long until, you know, they get a space for you or a dorm, whatever the hell. They really don't say much to you. So you just sitting there, you know, lost, like confused. Like, well, for me, I was lost and confused because like I don't know. It was a very irritating situation. I actually had got arrested here in Columbus, but I had to go to Portsmouth because that's where my charges was. So I spent like maybe a month in Jackson Pike, or no, maybe 7 days. And then they came to transport me down to Portsmouth. And that experience down there that's hell. You feel like you in a Monopoly game or something. Like they give you these black and white stripe uniforms with some orange Crocs, and then if you got a misdemeanor, you wear orange whatever, and it was a mess. It was a mess. I had found out after maybe 2 months of being there, or a month, I'm not sure, that I was pregnant. I was talking to this girl one night and I just started shaking. Sorry, my 3-year-old is sitting right here. I just started shaking. And she was like, "Are you okay? You on drugs?" I'm like, "No, I don't know what the hell is wrong with me." So she was like, you know, write the nurse. I'm like, "What nurse? We got nurses here in jail?" She was like, "Yeah, you know, I've never been arrested, none of this. So I don't know nothing from a monkey's ass to the titty. I don't know." So I wrote the nurse. She came and got me. She told me that she'll come back to let me know if I was pregnant or not. So she never came back. So later on that night, one of the sheriff guys came through. You know, they pass out snack or whatever, and he was like, "Who's Baker?" And I was like, "Me." And he was like, "Here you go." I was like, "I'm not diabetic." He said, "No, you're pregnant." I'm like, "What? Like me pregnant?" He was like, "Yeah." So, you know, they give diabetic and pregnant women extra peanut butter or bologna, whatever the hell. And so the next day I called my mom crying and tell her, and that's when really prison for me just wasn't prison. It was for me knowing I'm going to prison, just not about prison. Now I got to carry this baby too, you know. So that's a whole different experience because, you know, he was my first son, and it was just like, damn. So to get logged in and to know all that and sit there, and then I sat in Portsmouth for maybe like, let me see, I got arrested in July, so August, September, 2 months, and by the end of October, I had came back here to Columbus to do my time at FMC, which is the Franklin Medical Center that's on Harmon Avenue. So that's like really when my prison time kicked in, not skipping over Marysville, because I had to go to Marysville too to get logged into admissions so I could freaking, you know, get back here. It was a long process for me. It was a lot of back and forth. It was a long process, and I thought I was gonna die at one point in time.
Right, man. That's very ironic because I know exactly the places you're talking about. During my time, I was a cadre at the medical center.
Okay.
And I'm also familiar with Portsmouth. I'm in Dayton because people from Dayton. For people out there who don't know, Portsmouth is like a small town in Ohio, which is outside of the big cities. And a lot of people tend to like to go out there and hustle because, you know, it's a lot of addicts out there, white people in particular. You know, you can get more money out there than you can in the inner city. So a 22 count indictment, that's a big indictment. So what was going through your head when you found out your charges?
Okay, so yeah, when I first had got arrested, the officer that came to interrogate me, he rude ass, but anyways, he slammed a paper on the desk, and I said, what's this? He was like, you have an F1 that holds F2. So my charges was conspiracy to drug trafficking and heroin. The other one was participating in a criminal gang. My third one was drug trafficking and heroin, and that was a / cocaine. That was a F3, and my last one was engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. So the charge, and that was 39 years. He said that's 39 years altogether. So you know, in my head, I'm 23. I'm like 39. What? I'm like, what did I do that was so wrong? Like I'm asking them questions, they asking me. I'm fucking confused. Like, what the fuck did I do so bad that I gotta do all this time? So after scaring me half to death, my charges that I pled out to was engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. That was an F2. And then drug trafficking and heroin / cocaine. That was an F3. So my charges was or the time that I got was originally 4.5 years mandatory. But when I went to court for the last thing they say, good luck and all that bullshit, the judge had changed my time to 3 years and out in 2.5 because I was pregnant. So that helped me.
So we're not talking about when you went to the county, your first day in prison, as far as being a female. How was that for you?
So I actually like them women. Like the women that I first walked into, because see, we had a 10-man, it was anywhere from 5 to 10-man dorm. So I was in a room with 10 other women. And when I came in, they were like really generous and kind. And, they kind of helped me learn how to cook and just learn different stuff. And, because I didn't know nothing. Like, it's like walking into a whole different world. So I didn't think that anybody would, introduce themselves and be polite from what we see on TV. So I was cool. Like, I was cool where I was my whole time. I didn't get into no fights. Females, they argue, whatever, but I didn't let it get too serious because I'm not finna argue with nobody for too long. So I was cool.
Right. Okay. What I did, I put the comments on the screen so you can start seeing them. Somebody want to know, was you actually a part of any of those crimes?
No. I don't no. I don't really.
So what was your feelings like? Okay, go ahead. What are you saying?
I was about to say, I don't know how to answer that. Like, okay, so I just drove a car. That's it. I just say that. To me, that's not being a part of anything in my mind, because I didn't think that I was, doing anything wrong. Like, I had license to drive. That's what I did.
Right. So how much time did you eventually end up doing?
I did 3 years.
Okay, so doing 3 years in prison, your first day you got there, you kind of met some people and stuff like that. So what are some of the things you got involved with while you was in prison, like programming?
Yeah, I got into a lot of programming because I had to. It was a part of my judicial release. And I also, after I had my son, I also became the case manager's secretary. So my job was like the pregnant females that was coming from Marysville. I had to pass them out these package or whatever, because you get 3 options to deal with your kid. Either you get your baby up for adoption, that's $3,000 you get, or you send them home, or they go to jail, or they go to children's service. So my son, obviously, he went home with my mom. But I would have to explain the paperwork to them. Just do office work. That's what I did. But before that, I worked in a stinking ass kitchen. And when I was pregnant, I had to clean the CO bathroom, which wasn't bad because it wasn't dirty like you know, other places would be. So it was fine.
So from the time you had your baby until your baby went home with your mother, was you able to spend time with your baby?
Not really a lot. Like some visits was missed. You know, people got jobs out here. Like life didn't stop because I was where I was. It just put a hex on life because I didn't know I was pregnant. Nobody knew until I called. So, you know, it was going good. And then, you know, somewhere down the line, you know, my family, they was like, hey, we can't make it, this and that. So I went into like a good depression mode for probably about like 6 months. And my postpartum was about 6 months too. I used to call home a lot though, and I hear him cry and stuff because he didn't talk. So obviously, so it wasn't really much, you know, I could say to him.
So one of the things has been coming up in the media lately about changing the law about women being handcuffed when giving birth in prison. So how was the process of giving birth being locked up?
Oh, that was we don't get handcuffed no more. Like they let me free. Like I didn't have no shackle on my leg. I didn't have no handcuffs. Now when we go inside the hospital, because you know it's public, they don't want people to just randomly attack somebody. So yeah, we gotta walk through, you know, cuffed, but they're in the front. Like we're cuffed in the front instead of in the back. So the whole process of me having a baby was, I can't believe I'm having a baby. Like just from, you know, the medicine they give us, the time it take to have a baby, the pain you feel having them, just from when they finally come out, I felt like it was a blessing and a curse. Felt like I was blessed, you know, to be having this baby that I didn't know, but I felt like I was cursed because I have to have this baby incarcerated and then I have to leave this baby. Like I only got 24 hours with my son and they came to take him from me and told me that I had to go back to prison. So, you know, that really hurt my feelings.
Right. So I'm not too really for sure with it by being a male. So out here on the streets, when you have a baby, how many days are you in the hospital?
It all depends. Like they let you go. So when I had my other two outside of prison, I think I was in there for like 2 days, and then they, you know, they sent us home. If everything is good with like your insides and stuff, they'll let you go. Plus, I didn't have a C-section. I know sometimes they keep women that, you know, get cut open longer than when it's natural.
Right. So having your child while you was incarcerated, they only let you stay 1 day?
24 hours. I had him on Easter Sunday, April 5th, 2015. And then by the time the 7th of April came, yeah, he was gone. That's 24 hours because they actually watch the time you have the baby. So I had my son at 11:43 p.m. So from 11:43 p.m., that's when my 24 hours started. So when April 7th came, bright and early in the morning, I was giving up my baby, getting back in the van to go back to prison and do 18 months because that's how much time I had left.
Wow. So for people out there who don't know, walk us through a day in females prison.
Okay, so like I said, this particular female prison, my hair is getting frizzy. But anyways, this particular prison is not like Marysville. Like they have a real low tolerance for certain stuff because you're around pregnant, like everybody's pregnant. Well, majority of the women are pregnant. And then you have the cadres, who is the women that's not pregnant. And, you know, they normally do the heavy duty work, like buff the floors and stuff like that. So, I mean, and I was in prison with, you know, I don't want to be disrespectful about it, but addicts, you know, people that is different from me. But I mean, it was just a lot of arguing. It wasn't like, you know, females making shanks and people getting beat up, and it wasn't like that. Like they did little scuffle, but it wasn't like no hardcore locked up raw stuff. So I really don't have that type of experience of prison.
Right. I want to say salute to the chat. Thanks, Cam, for sharing me out. I want to thank everybody for coming through. If you haven't hit the like button, I got my guest who just coming in, Briggles. Like I said, it's a new series I started called Tales from the Cell. She was unfortunate enough to happen to give birth to her first son while being incarcerated. She kind of just walking us through how it was giving birth while being incarcerated, a female being in prison, and sharing some of her experiences with us. So what do you think is one of the most valuable lessons you learned while being locked up?
I'm glad you asked that. I'm so glad you asked that. Me being a female with
I found this on the web for where experiences.
What? So the lesson I learned was you got to know who a guy is just to see like how he move and stuff. I wasn't paying attention to that because this wasn't my boyfriend. So, you know, we just kicking it, whatever, just having fun. So I'm not alert to what, you know, he's already then got into or, you know, what he doing. So my lesson was to pay attention and keep my eyes open, because when you end up in somebody else's shit, sometimes you can't get out of it. And that's what made me mad. I ended up in somebody else's shit that I couldn't get out of. And the motherfucker never, you know, apologized, didn't say nothing. Like, it wasn't cool. It just wasn't cool. Like, I mean, I know stay out the streets if you don't know about them, this and that. But the way that I was drug into it, it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool at all.
Right.
So I don't flirt with dudes. I don't even care.
So for you to get caught up into somebody's mess, and like you said, if you ain't from the streets, don't get into them. So how did you grow up? Did you grow up like getting into trouble or grow up in the streets?
No, so I grew up on the south side of Columbus, and I actually lived on this street for 18 years. So which happened to be the hood. And so, you know, I was a stay in the house type person. Like, my mom was real strict. I couldn't go off the second step. Like, this is why I got into trouble, because, you know, if you let a dog, a lion, whatever, a monkey, you let something out the cage, finally, they gonna run wild. And that's what I did, because I was grown. I was, you know, 23. Can't nobody tell me shit. And I shouldn't have had that mentality, because that left me blind to, you know, the world that I should have been looking at, because that's, you know, what got me locked up. Me not being open-minded, me not seeing shit that's right in front of me, just, you know, and that came from me being locked in the house. Like, you know, you locked in the house, you know everything. You turn the lights off at night, walk through your shit without bumping into nothing, you know, but it's just, yeah.
So how do you think being in prison, how do you think it changed you as a person?
It changed me as a person because the shit that I used to do, I don't do no more. Like, you know, it made me mature. It raised me actually to become the woman that I am today. Because, you know, I'm not out here with 3 kids running wild, doing this, doing that. Like, I'm very calm. I'm not a humble person, because, you know, if I want you to know something, I'm going to want you to know. If I want to show you something, be on my big one, I am. I'm not keeping it a secret. So I don't be doing the humbleness. But, you know, it raised me. It made me mature. I see life for what it is now, versus I can't just go through life without no breaks. Like, sometimes you got to pump your brakes and just relax. So me sitting down for that long and ain't got no choice but to pump my brakes and relax. Yeah. And it'll be 10 years next year that, you know, I was incarcerated, and I ain't been back. Don't want to go back. So.
Right. So for the female, we're going to really speak about the females, but we're really talking about everybody in general. So for the people out there, man, that think going to jail is a joke, what's the message you got for them?
It's not a joke, because you got to get up when they tell you to. That food be nasty. You know, the shower be nasty. Now, where I was at, like I said, we did have to clean up after ourselves. So, and we got private showers. So, you know, it was like a little luxury, but it wasn't. It's like, you know, you don't like telling you what to do. you don't want nobody, you know, just being all up in your face because they can, like, CO wise. Because female, you slap her, but you know, you as an adult, you want to know that you know what you're doing in life, obviously. But in a prison, you gonna feel like a kid because if you don't do what they say, you get in trouble just like a kid. It's like, what? So I ain't like none of that. I don't like authority. I don't like to be told what to do. I want to do what I want to do.
Right. Did you get in any fights?
No, I got into a couple arguments that wasn't about nothing. That's why I said I ain't got that type of, you know, story where I was getting beat up or doing the beating up. No, I said what I said, walk off. Ain't nobody never hit me, so no, I'm cool.
So while you was in there, you gave birth to your child. You got caught up in the situation. So what are some of the plans you made for when you got out?
So my very first plan was just to, you know, reunite with my son, which I did all that. And just to, you know, find what it was that I wanted to do to keep me out of trouble. So in 2020, because I really didn't have no plans. Like my son was on my mind, you know. It's like I'm not planning over when I get out, I'm gonna get a job. I mean, obviously that, but like it just was all about my son. So when I did come home, I reunited with my son. You know, I did get my shit together. I got me a car. I got me a job. I threw his second birthday party because I got out in January of 2017 and his birthday was in April. So, you know, I did all that. I managed to get pregnant in February of 2017, lost that baby. You know, when you have a miscarriage, the doctors like for you to come back so they could check and make sure that there's nothing else left inside of you or whatever. So when they did all that, I was 7 weeks pregnant. So I was 7 weeks pregnant with my second son. The same year that I came home, I ended up having him December 17th of 2017 or December 13th of 2017. So I guess my plan was to be a mom.
Right. So aside from, of course, missing your son and family, what you think one of your worst experiences was while being in there?
Just like not being able to do what I want to do. Like that barbed wire fence really bothered me. And then they had the electrical wires on it. I'm like, damn, like because you just naturally think, how the hell I'm gonna get out of here? Like, so I was thinking, it by all costs, if I could have took the chance without the electrical and the barbed wire, I would have. But I'm serious. Like at one point in time, I thought I was really going to die because I had to adapt to a habitat that I didn't even get to see the outside of the world like that. So how the hell I'm gonna come living here for 3 months or 3 years and just be regular?
Right.
So I don't know. I guess like I really don't know.
And then of course we already know when you've been incarcerated. Everybody know you're gonna miss your family, miss being able to do what you want to do. What you think one of the things aside from that? What's one of the smallest things you think you missed the most?
Shoot. Wearing heels, because I love heels. You can't wear no heels in prison. Like I had the makeup in prison, I had the flat iron. That's why I'm sitting here thinking, because I'm like, okay, hold on, because a lot of stuff we have in prison that you wouldn't even think that we have. But most definitely heels, because I love heels.
Right. When I was there, I think one of the smallest things I used to always say it, and I still say today, one of the smallest things I miss, of course, taking a bath. I miss hearing the newspaper hit the porch. You know what I'm saying? Although in the beginning you was facing a lot of time and was blessed to eventually get, 2 years, 3 years. But I got since my 10 years when you in there, man, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And people don't know, man, just because you go to jail, you ain't guaranteed to get out. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even about somebody doing something to you. You can have a heart attack in there.
Yeah.
Also getting a fight, fall, hit your head or anything. So people thinking just because you go to jail, man, it ain't no guarantee you're gonna come out of there. So we're talking about you working to start your business and stuff like that. So tell the people about the business you're working on.
So yeah, this was like a little throw on wig because I lost track of time and I ain't had time to really like do it up. But you know, I'm into cosmetics. Like I can lay a wig, I can do a wig real good. I'm working on the makeup, you know, because I gotta get my little bling game together. Yeah, check that out. And also I'm into acrylic nails, but you know, I'm taking my time on that one. So wigs most definitely, but cosmetics altogether. That's what I like to do.
Right. So what are some other things you've been doing since being home?
You know, just changing my life, walking a different path. I'm getting older. I'll be 33 in a couple months. So, you know, from the time that I got out of prison up until now, you know, it really ain't nothing wrong with the life, but you know, I just want to get on. I just want to do a different journey. So right now I'm actually on my little spiritual journey. I'm in like a little group or whatever. And I can't say too much about that, but you know, I get like a lot of love, like a lot of help, you know, a lot of guidance when it's necessary. You know, it's like the teacher give the lesson and you take the test. So, you know, I'm just living the life a little different.
Right. So, when you first caught your case, like you said, you had the 22 count indictment. We already know, we talked, you stood strong. So tell the people about some of the mind games the police play on you to try to get you to tell.
Yeah, well, I didn't tell on nobody but myself. I'm just gonna say that. If I knew what I'd known, then I wouldn't have, you know, it wouldn't have been nothing for me to say. But I actually dug myself a deeper hole along with somebody, you know, saying whatever they did to even get me caught up. But you know, they like to play games like they don't know why you sitting in their face, and it's like why you know, then you get the why you sitting in mine. So yeah, it's like they ask questions about 20 different times, 20 different ways to see if your answer gonna change, and that one answer you change is what gonna get your ass on up out of here. So if no your first answer, make it no all the damn time. Don't even think about nothing. Don't say nothing, because it's yeah, they get you good, especially when you don't know shit. Like I'm not a juvenile, or I wasn't a juvenile. I wasn't, you know, I was a runaway, but they'd just bring me back home. So, you know, I didn't get in trouble until as an adult, and I didn't know, you know, I didn't know shit. So
right,
just don't say nothing. If you can help it, don't say nothing. But if you got to say something, then so what?
But we all know it. We all know it's different strokes for different folks. What's some advice you have for a male or even a female who just got out of prison and trying to get back on track?
You know, you're gonna get a lot of no's before you get yes, but don't get discouraged. Like when I first came home, I was trying to I guess I was moving too fast, but I was trying to get me a place, and they like, you know, you gotta wait 5 years for this, 10 years for that. Certain jobs didn't want to take me because I was just fresh home, this and that. But the object of the game is to not give up, because about a couple months after so many no's, I got so many yeses. Like I worked at restaurants, I worked at the warehouse, which I stayed in the warehouse. So, but don't let no shut you down. Let no, you know, keep you motivated into doing whatever it is that you want to do, because it's gonna come. You just gotta believe that it's gonna come. Because if you don't believe in yourself, or you know, if you don't believe in what you want, then it's not gonna come.
Right. Do you think being in prison made you bitter in any type of way?
Nah, I ain't bitter. You know, I just don't like the people that you know, was on this case. Like I don't associate with them. I don't ever want to talk to none of them. I don't ever want to see none of them. It kind of made me like not like people, because I get a vibe of people. Like I can stand next to you and feel your vibe, and it'd be like, nah. You know, some people they don't have that gift like that. And I should have listened to my intuition back then, because something was telling me like, you got to get out of here. But I didn't know, you know, what that feeling was. And by the time I caught on to it, it was, you know, too late. I obviously was in some shit. So yeah, I'm not really a people person, how I used to be. I just don't care.
Right. So for the overall programming in prison, rehabilitation, preparing a person to get out to become a successful member of society, do you think that's effective in there?
It could be effective to people that, you know, really need that. Like I said, I had to do the programming because it was a part of my judicial release. If it was up to me, I wouldn't have did none of that, because I don't feel like it was necessary. For me being the type of person I am, like I said, I'm not I wasn't a juvenile, I'm not a repeated offender, you know, so it's like I'm just here riding away for real. I mean, I'll take the lesson, but all this other stuff, nah, I don't personally for me. But you know, for somebody that, you know, is a drug addict or, you know, got a type of problem, yeah, the programming most definitely will help you. It will bring, you know, you to certain understandings. Hell, you might find out who you really are depending on what program you get into.
Right. In the resources, do you feel like they give a person good resources for when getting out?
I do, because, you know, I've seen some people, you know, after they left, I've seen them out on the street, you know, they're doing good and stuff like that. It just all depends on what resource you want, because not like, as far as housing go, it didn't help me none. I don't know why. But it just didn't help me none. But I know it helps other people. So, you know, just whatever resource you want, it just all depends.
Right. Like I was saying earlier, it's different strokes for different folks. As far as for me, I don't really think I really think it's a money grab. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was in prison,
Yeah.
I did the programs. You know what I'm saying? I had the good jobs and stuff like that. And I mean, I really had to change because prior to getting my 10 years, in order to get my 10, I was facing a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times it's set up kind of for a person to fail, although it's in the individual. You know what I'm saying? It's what you're gonna do. But I think it's kind of different for me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think it's kind of good to have a female perspective and a male's perspective.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you know, some females they do harder time than me. Like it was a female there that only got 6 months, but her time was hard for her, for, you know, how she came in and stuff. Like, you know, when you twist it up and you gotta withdraw and all that, you know, it's like, yeah, like
Right.
it's just different situation. Like you said, different stroke for different folks.
Well, being blessed for you to get the time you got, how did you feel when you ran across lifers?
You know what, lifers, I love lifers. Like they a little cuckoo. They a little cuckoo. And I say that because the lifers that I dealt with, they all three shot someone. Like, you know, so but I enjoy, like, you know, just hearing they different stories about like how they got there. And I felt bad for one of them because she was like 16 and at the time, and her boyfriend was getting beat up, and she said she didn't know, you know, how to work a gun, so she just shot it. It went off and it ended up killing the boy that, you know, she was trying to help her boyfriend with. And I'm just like, damn, like that's crazy. Like anytime I hear women go to prison because of a male, it's just like, oh wow, it just sends thoughts through my head. And then like the other lifer, she shot a man, and the other lifer shot her husband. So I'm just, you know, and the one lifer, she ended up being on oxygen one day. So we all watching it because, you know, in prison we get TVs. When I tell you that she she had the worst time ever after we all watched that episode. I didn't watch it because I seen it before. I just didn't know it was her. I seen it outside of prison. But out of respect for her, I didn't watch it because I already knew everybody else around me was going to be immature. They was going to be picking. And that's exactly what they did. And, you know, one night she, I guess she had a nightmare and she screamed so loud, but it was like a horrific scream where everybody jumped up and we like, you okay? And she snatches this cover off of her face and she's just looking at us like, who are we? I think, you know, people trigger something in her mind. Either she had a flashback of a lie or whatever the situation was, you know. It just, I'll never forget that scream because I ain't never heard nobody scream like that. It was wild, but I liked them all. I liked them all.
Right. Do you think going to prison, you think it made you a better person?
It most definitely did. You know, I'm open to different things. Like, I know that I said that I don't really like people or deal with people, but you know, if we have a little conversation or whatever, man or female, you know, and I feel your vibe, shit, you cool with me. I mean, I don't got no agendas for nobody, you know, besides my kids. And after a certain, I ain't gonna have no agenda for them either because they on their own. But you know, I just don't like people that do sneaky shit, or you know, they just have it out to get you for some reason, or you know, they just a different face on a mask, if that makes sense. I don't like them people because I am who I am. Like me right now talking, that's how I am in person. You know, I might not say too much, but I'm not gonna get off here and be something different.
Right. And if you could go back and change anything, what would you change?
I would change the people that I hung with at the time. So like how I even got in this situation, I hope my mom don't ever watch this because she's gonna be mad. But her husband put me out the house. And I just found out like a couple years that she didn't even know, well, her ex-husband. But I just found out a couple years ago that she didn't even know that he put me out because I was pissed off at her for a long time. And because I thought she agreed to, you know, allowing him to put me out. So when I got put out, I was sleeping in my car, I was homeless and all this stuff. So, you know, that's where all right, you know, if you do this, I'll give you that. So, and I did what I did because people, you know, they prostitute for money. They do this for money. So I didn't think that I was doing the worst of it all. It just, you know, is one of my worst punishments of life.
Right. So if you was doing that, because what they was gonna do for you, why are you mad with the people who you got caught up with?
Because the one guy in specific, I'm not going to say his name, but like I said, we was cool or whatever, and I just feel like if you already got some shit going on and you know that whatever, however, then say something. Hey, watch your back, something. Like, just don't sit back and take me under when you know you had the opportunity to get out your bullshit. You chose to keep it going. Now you didn't drug me in some shit blindsided, and I have to find out, you know, after it's already done. I got to go back and look in a law library computer or call home and be like, hey, look this up, da 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 da. You know, it's just like, damn. So yeah, I don't got nothing to say to nobody. Like, I'm cool.
Right. So I guess at the time we could kind of say you was green, but as life went on, you definitely didn't learn.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And have you been like doing anything like to talk to other females or prevent other females from going to prison?
No.
Or to prison from getting caught up?
Well, I mean, no, because if don't nobody tell me nothing, I don't know. I sit in my house and mind my business. Like, I don't do no outside world stuff right now. I just be in the house. Like I told you, I got into a car accident on the 15th, so I don't even got my truck no more. It's getting fixed or estimate, whatever they're doing. So, you know, that's got me in a tight spot because I don't like just sitting in the house. You know, I'm normally outside, whether it's the grocery shop or go shopping for myself or my kids. But other than that type of stuff, if you don't tell me, then I'm not gonna know that you going through something or you need some advice. So
Right,
nope.
right. So prior to the talking, we got another queen in the comments, but Queen, she said she'd be Queen Briggles said she'd be open to take questions. Anybody got any questions? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can pass on to your daughter, your niece, maybe somebody in your neighborhood or something. Because I think like growing up, you know what I'm saying, your mom and dad can always say like, you don't want to go to prison. It's a bad place.
Yeah.
You've been there, can't really tell you like, man, you don't want to go to prison because ain't nobody gonna send you no money. Everybody gonna turn their back on you. If somebody die, if you got certain charges, you can't go to the funeral. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'm the type of person I'd rather teach a person from my experiences versus letting them burn their hand themselves on the stove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, now my father, he did go to he went to federal prison back when I was like a baby or whatever. For he went 5 years for you know what he did. But he always used to say, you don't want to go to jail and eat a bologna sandwich. And when you tell somebody that, it's like, well, I ain't gotta eat the bologna. Like, so you know that it's like him saying that, it just left me like in the gray. Versus me, when I tell my kids something, even though they're young, because based off of my experience, you know, I could break it down to them like, hey, you ain't gonna get that up in there. You keep acting like that, you gonna have to do what them people say, da 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 da. You know, because like I said, I got 3 boys, and I don't right now. They 8, 5, and 3, so I can't say who gonna do what, who ain't. I just hope that, you know, my message, because I know I'm gonna have to repeat myself up until they get like teenagers, and even after teenagers, you know, because I want them to like, this is serious. Like, you know, you lose your freedom, it change your life. And some people, you're not going to come out the same. You might come out worse, like mentally. So, you know, I really break it down to them, and, you know, they be understanding it to a certain extent. Like my 8-year-old, he always says, like if certain pictures pop up of him being a baby, he be like, mommy, this is a picture of me when you was in jail, when you was in prison. I'm like, not all of them, not always, man. He like, oh, well, you said you had me in there when I was a baby. I said I did, but this picture, you was at home with your grandma, like, you know. So I know he wants to know more, but it's like I tell him, you only 8, certain stuff you not gonna understand. So I try to just make it simple as I can. But once he get to looking at me sideways, I'm like, well, different day, buddy, different day.
Right. It kind of touched on the topic we were talking about. A person ain't guaranteed to make it out. And like you said, a person ain't guaranteed to come out the same. Man, people don't know, man. When you go to prison, they mess a lot of people up, because if you cause them trouble or anything, they gonna do whatever they can to calm you down. So they put a lot of people on psych meds. And if they put you on psych meds and you don't need psych meds, they give you a chemical imbalance and it mess you up. I've seen so many people come in there that was regular, and they put them psych meds, and 6 months later, you didn't even know them, and they gained a whole bunch of weight. They spaced out. They completely, totally different people, man.
Yep. I took this girl's what the heck was that dang on? She has sleeping medicine, and I couldn't sleep because, you know, this was around the time my postpartum had really kicked in bad. It started with a T, something she had. And I said, what is this? She was like, it's just gonna put you to sleep. So I'm like, okay. It put me to sleep good, but I woke up, I said, I can't do that no more. I felt like 10 elephants was like stomping on my head. So I said, all right, let me just talk to the psychiatrist. So I did talk to the psychiatrist, but I told her I didn't want no medicine. So I didn't get put on medicine. I just, you know, told her about my feelings of me not being able to see my son. And, you know, I'm just emotionally distraught, and it's just irritating. I want to get out of here. So, you know, I was cool. And I think maybe like after 3 months, me and her was done talking, and I just, you know, went into a different mode. Like I didn't need no sleep pills. I didn't need to talk to her. I just I was counting down the days at that time because it was getting close to me, you know, getting out. But yeah, I've my old bunkie, they put her on some medicine, and you know how like the bunk bed shake. Like one night, this woman screamed so loud, she started shaking, and she fell off the top bunk. So I just look over at her like, what the hell? She cracked her ribs. Like all of this was like red and everything. Like they had to wrap her up and stuff. And I know they were giving her, you know, medicine for her injury, but then she said something about how they switched her medicine, and every night she would have these tears, and we like, okay, you got to get off of that, like, because you're tripping. Like you were fine, you know how you was. Sorry that you feel like you wasn't, but you wasn't doing all this damn screaming every night now. So I know what you mean by they will mess you up if you allow them.
Yeah, if you allow them.
Yeah.
Too much of anything can kill you. Take too many aspirins and they put you down.
Yeah.
Another thing people was there doing to get high, they was taking like blood pressure medication. They buy guys blood pressure medication to do it, lower your blood medication. It lower your blood pressure, and I guess it make you high. So if you take too many of them, a guy, he took a lot of them and lowered his blood pressure too low, he went out. You know, so like I was saying, man, you ain't guaranteed to make it out of there. I think right now in the time, they kind of glamorize in prison, a whole lot of stuff going on about snitching, but when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, man, it definitely ain't the place to be. You know what I'm saying?
Sure ain't.
And that was kind of the purpose of me starting this series. You know what I'm saying? To tell my experiences, because best believe me, I got 15 in altogether, but I did 10 straight. So I definitely have seen some stuff in there. I done seen the good, I done seen the bad, and I've seen the ugly. Like I was saying earlier, I think it's good for people to also get a female's perspective of, you know what I'm saying? Because one of my goals and missions is to deter people from prison. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't gonna listen to you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't the type of person, or they want to call it OG, run around try to preach. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you a couple of times, I'm gonna keep on moving. But one thing I can say, I go back, I wish I would have listened to my parents growing up. You know what I'm saying? But however, if I can go back and change it, I wouldn't change nothing, because it made me into the person I am today. You know what I'm saying? And if I hadn't been in prison the time I was in there, who knows? I could be dead. I could have gotten in a car wreck or anything. So sometimes it kind of is a blessing and a curse. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And by you, like you say, raising 3 sons and being in prison, you know, you kind of can tell them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Because one of the things I did while I was in there, I was the out of the 10 years, I think about 8 of them, I was like the head of the. And there they call it the Scare Straight program. I didn't call it Scare Straight, because I looked at it as an educational program, because I was educating people. I was like the head of the Scare Straight program. You know what I'm saying? And one of my goals, I ain't gonna say past, one of my goals was to kind of get out and kind of deter people from going to prison. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, man, you see some horrific things in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I done talked about this a few times on my channel. You know, I was in there. I had been down 7 years. My mom passed, and I wasn't even allowed to go to her funeral due to the charges I had. You know what I'm saying? And let alone not being able to go to her funeral. One of the things that was messed up is how they told me. It was a good thing that I had kind of already knew she was sick and kind of like prepared myself. It was the way they had broken down, how they had told me she had passed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate you coming through, man, sharing your experiences. I wish you much success. And one more time before we go, tell the people about your business.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So not necessarily a business, but you know, like I said, you want a wig done, I most definitely lay your wig, because that's what I'm into. Like, excuse mine. I had to, you know, grab and go. But I do have an Instagram. I don't even know what my Instagram name is, but I got all type of wigs that I did on myself on there. I think my Instagram name is what? It's Queen Briggles.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And I got a Twitter. My Twitter is what is my Twitter? I think that one is Queen Briggles. And then my Facebook is Sega Play.
Do you get paid for laying wigs?
No, I just do them on myself. I haven't gotten no.
If a person came to you and wanted you to lay their wig, would you expect to get paid?
Yeah, why not?
It's a business then.
Okay, well,
Business.
small business, little business. That's gonna be big one day.
Right. Definitely. Like I said, man, I got her Instagram in the descriptions. If you're in the area, go to the Midwest area, hit her up, get your wig laid, get your edges, whatever they do and all that. Appreciate you for coming through. I appreciate you for coming through. You the first guest on Tales. The first guest on Tales from the Cell. You definitely had a message. You know what I'm saying? I was sorry to hear that you had to have your child while you was incarcerated, but you definitely had a message. I appreciate you for coming through.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks. Yep. That was Briggles. Like I say, slide through, hit her Instagram. Her Instagram is in the description of this video. I kind of had a few little technical difficulties going on in the beginning. So I thank everybody for coming through. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, slide through my merch store. Matter of fact, let me put it up for y'all. Hit my website, get you a copy of my book, Hankin' in Love with the Game. Get you a Hankin' definition t-shirt, get you a Hankin' logo t-shirt. And also, you already know it's Hankin'. When you can supply the demand and consistently turn a profit. If you got any music, a business or brand you're trying to promote, hit me up. We definitely can link up and work together. We can make something happen. If you're a moderator, you got a wrench, go ahead and drop your link in the channel. If there's somebody in there who you mess with, got a channel, they don't got a wrench, drop theirs. And let's keep growing, man. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Like I said, man, this right here is a series. It's called Tales from the Cell. What I'm just gonna be sitting back and I'm just gonna be telling different stories about when I was incarcerated. And I also decided to interpret and have guests who also been incarcerated. If you go back through some of my old videos and check out Robert Mackey's video, he did 26 years in the joint. His video on there. I also have another video on there. Hankin' with Divine Sweets. That's a female. She happened to have did some time in the joint. Let me see who else on there. And it might be, I think, one or two other people. Just slide through and check out my all my other videos, man. Like I said, I'm gonna be telling prison stories. I did 10 years, man. I've seen some stuff, man. I definitely seen some stuff. So I'm be spreading that message. Like I say, trying to deter our young people and some of our older people, because some of our older people, they're throwing rocks at the penitentiary. So trying to deter them from going to prison, or at least to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't gonna listen. You know what I'm saying? One person can't change the world, but one person can make a difference. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting out content, man. You know what I'm saying? Whatever hit. You know what I'm saying? My Tales from the Cell, my interviews, my Hankin'. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting up content, trying to network with people. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind sharing. I want to see everybody grow. I want to see everybody win. But like I said, man, get my book. I had already told you. I forgot what the stipulation was. I was giving away some free copies. Hit me on Instagram. I got free copies of the book, Hankin' in Love with the Game. And I also got some definition t-shirts. The sizes vary. Hit me up if I got your size. I got you. But the only thing I'm going to require you is to take a picture, post it on your social media, and tag me in it. That's how we going to do that. I got, I think 5 or 10 books on hand and maybe like 10 or 15 shirts. And after that, everything won't be going through the website. But I'm trying to get rid of the stuff I got on hand personally. Also, if you're trying to get anything promoted, anything for your brand, hit me up. We're going to find a way, get it to me. I get it up here. I'm going to do the same thing. Post it on my social medias, tag you in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about promotion, helping people grow. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, subscribe to the people in the channel, man. Hit the like button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Hankin' TV. Also, if you're a gamer, I'm on PS5. Follow me on the PS Network at Hankin' TV. We can get some gaming in, whatever. Anything got anything to do with creating some content, hit me up. I'm going to see y'all later on in the chat. So I'll holler.
You went to your Ford dealer and got a used vehicle with Ford Blue Advantage, and you've never felt more confident. Your vehicle